Rozpocząć? Okay. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is a great pleasure to be presenting today. Thanks to the project which is co-financed by the governments of Czechia, Hungary, Poland and Slovakia through Visegrad Grants from International Visegrad Fund. The mission of the fund is to advise ideas for sustainable regional cooperation in the Central Europe. I am really happy to be able to present to you some basic and advanced tips and tricks how to use Microsoft Teams as a platform to communicate with your students and how to use it proficiently, or at least how to use some of the features that are available to you via the MS Teams platform, which might make your work as a didactician, a teacher, a bit easier, and to present to your students the information that you would like to present in a way that it's clear, understandable, and helps both you, the teacher, and the students to understand what you're willing to and what you want to show them or teach them. Now, first thing first. As I was informed by our organizer, most of Czechia, Hungary and Slovakia is using Microsoft Teams platform, or generally speaking the Office platform, as a tool to work or collaborate remotely with students. And it is good to understand that knowing the tools that you're using is making your work easier. First things first, you can access your Microsoft Office account and use the Teams platform via your browser or via the app. Now, the app is the preferred option here, but be aware that many of your students might be using it via a cell phone or a browser. So in some cases, the functionalities I will be showing you today are not available to your students, or might be not available to your students. Microsoft Teams works differently when operated on your cell phone, differently when it's operated on Linux systems, on macOS systems, because it is designed to work on Microsoft Windows. But let's put that aside and log into our account. Our organization, which is the University of Opole, has a subscription to Microsoft Office. It is integrated into our infrastructure, and because of that, we are able to use it to log on to our accounts, both via our university platform and the Microsoft account. Now, as you can see, I've loaded up my account. I'll go to, and here I can go to Microsoft 365. And this platform is available to any university on the basic level for free. So if it is not yet installed or applied in your organization, you may use it for free. Just contact your local administrator or IT team to enhance or add that functionality into your system. Now, as you can see here, here is the Teams tab. The Microsoft Teams tab directs us to the browser version of the Microsoft Teams software. Now, this is a live presentation, so please be aware that some delays might occur, and we will be dealing with that. If something goes wrong, you can be sure that a PowerPoint presentation is just around the corner, and we'll be able to work in that situation also. Unfortunately, all right, now, right, as you can see, that's my dashboard after I log on to the Microsoft Teams. The layout, which you see here, is almost identical to the one that you see here, which is my Microsoft Teams application installed on this computer. There are small functionality differences between those two platforms, and some of them are not available when you're using the browser, which is generally speaking a smaller possibility available to you or provided to you by a browser. But this is only to show you that all of your students, no matter what platform they are using and no matter what is their situation, they may access the Microsoft Teams platform via a browser. So generally speaking, a software which almost every device has that capability to do so, so that should be not a problem for you or your pupils. Now, allow me to switch back to my Teams application. And for that presentation, I will create a new team for us to work with. As you can see, I am already logged on, and because of that, I didn't need to put in my credentials, but that is a process I believe is not too difficult to manage. Now, let's create a new team. We can join a team using a code. I'll show you where you can find a code to share with your students, or create a new team. If you are using the platform as we are, this is a Microsoft Teams for Education, which on one hand is free. Secondly, it is adjusted for the needs of the education process. So as you can see, I just noticed that it is in Polish. Allow me to make a small adjustment to change it into English so that everyone can relate and understand what's going on. Right. Unfortunately, that needs or forces the teams to reload, but we're back. Okay, let us create a team. We can choose a class, professional learning community, staff, or other. We will be today focusing on the class option or the class team, which creates basically a class as you would attend or teach a class in your classroom. So those are all the pupils that you're working with combined into one team, which is a class in which you are working. Now, I select the class and I need to give it a name. So, I'm sorry if any misclicks happen. That's just the live presentation. Okay, I've named my course. Now I click next. And basically it's done. I've created a team, a class into which I can enroll students. I can add them to the class, to the course, and they are or will be participants of such course. Now, a strenuous process in creation of a class is to add all the students. In most cases, you are given a list of names of students which are enrolled into your class. Now, you may do it name by name. In Microsoft Teams, I may add my students just by typing in some subsection of their name. So let's say this is my colleague, a IT admin. I can add that person just as a single person. But it is a strenuous process to add every single student into your class. Now, you may do that using groups. So if you are, or if your organization is using Microsoft Teams, you may create a group that aggregates all the students that are assigned to that group, to that class. So for example, if we're teaching to philology first year second group, there should be a group that is available to us just to add as a group. I'll use my personal group of Science Club of IT Security. And as you can see, here's the group, section CyberSec of our available on our university science courses. And when I click that, as you can see, the whole section has been added. I click add, and right now 12 members are added to the team. So that has helped us a lot in the process of enrollment, and especially in the cases when we have 300 or 100 people to be enrolled into a class. Now, this group can be created by admins, it can be created by you. So if your organization is capable of creating such groups, that it would be beneficial for all teachers to be provided just with a group name which has all the students already enrolled. As we know, most of the groups are used by multiple teachers for multiple courses. I will not be adding those Polish students into the test course, so I'll just delete that object from my list, as you can see right now, and I'll just add my friend who is a IT administrator. Okay, we have created a course named Teams Tutorial course, which is which now has two participants: me as a teacher and a single student, which is my friend and colleague from work. Now, the first thing that you see, we are in the general channel, as you can see here, selected, general channel of our team that we have just created, a class, a course. People who are enrolled into this course or into this class, into this team, have access to this team already. They may assign themselves by just using a link or using a code. We'll get to that. First, what I would like to talk about is to show you some basic settings that are available to you in Microsoft Teams. Now, some of you may prefer a dark mode, which changes the layout, as you can see here, of your Microsoft Teams, which is, let's say, less painful to the eyes or less bright. You may adjust the layout to the one that fits you or is suited best for your needs. Now, as you can see, And as you have already seen, we've changed the language to English. And as you can see, the list of languages in which this application is available is pretty long. For now, we'll be using English as it is the most commonly understood. But in your specific case, you may use the language that is the language that you prefer. Be aware that changing those settings will not change the settings for your students. It will just change the settings for you. Now, you may manage delegates here in settings, in which case you may add people who will be filling in for you in any case during your vacation, during your absence, because absence of leave, because of a sickness. Though if you set a delegate, a person will be receiving calls and receiving information, notifications, which are specifically targeted at you. Now, the most common problem that people experience during a online course from the teacher side or from the presenter side is that your configuration of your system does not match what you would like to see. Now, if we go to the devices menu, as you can see, those are the default devices that will be used in order to work with Microsoft Teams. So here's the speaker, microphone, and here's a list of possible devices that can be used in the application. And the great thing about this section is that you can make a test call before you start a meeting or start a conversation, start a video call to check if your video and microphone, your camera or your microphone are working fine. Let's make that call now.
To test your call quality, record a short message after the beep. Then your message will be played back to you.
I am recording a message to check the quality of the sound. I am recording a message to check the quality of the sound. I do understand that some of you may not heard what happened on the screen. Because during that call I did not select the option to share the PC's output audio with the audience. So the voice asked me to record a short message, and I was able to record it and hear it back to check if my microphone is working perfectly. And as you can see, here is a basic check to see if all the configuration and all the settings are fine and you're ready to go. Now, let's get back to the settings. So it is a good practice if you are not using your personal computer. Let's say you're using a work computer or the one that is available to you in your office. Maybe you're somewhere abroad and using a device that is not yours and you've installed the application. You may check the quality of your sound, the quality of your video before making the call. It is in a good tone to do so. Just before we start a lesson, before we start a conversation, to check if everything's fine. And with that, we've checked that everything works fine and we can go and create our connection. Now, here you can see a preview of my camera. Unfortunately, for some reason, right. As you can see, here on my screen, I can see myself, and I can check if my camera is working properly, and if what I'm seeing is acceptable to me. I may add a green screen. So if you are willing to take some time and create a green screen behind you, or put a green screen or a monocolor background, it will be a great solution for you, because you will be able to use filters and your background will look great, and you will be very distinct from, you need to be very distinct from the background, so that's why we used, in most cases, the green screen. And in some cases, that allows you to add some background that suits the purpose of your meeting or your class, not to show your bookshelf or a wall that presents nothing. Just add a green screen behind you, use the green screen option, choose a color that is applicable to your green screen or blue screen or any color of a screen, and select it as your background. Thanks to that, the option will work better for you. Now, in many cases, the cameras have poor lighting quality. Unfortunately, in our case, in this particular case, you can see me perfectly because of a lamp being just behind me. In many cases, you will be in a dark room which has no source of light, or let's say too weak source of light. You may adjust the brightness, and in this case, no adjustments or only small adjustments are made. But in the case of my personal office, where the lights aren't strong, using adjusted brightness allows me not to be a dark face somewhere in the darkness. I am well seen and well viewed by everyone involved in my class. We'll get back to the default settings, as I will be showing you how to change the setting during a call, because you can do that also. Be aware that my head will tilt from time to time to my additional monitor, as I am doing some additional tasks in order to show you some functionalities of Microsoft Teams. So, okay, we've talked about the preview, we've talked about the adjusted brightness, and now let's go to the notification. Now, the communication quality between you and your students is dependent upon how the information is presented to your student, or how the information is presented to your colleagues. Now, it is obvious that if we pick up our phone and start calling someone, the telephone on the other side will start ringing or vibrating. Now, in some cases, Microsoft Teams, or any other platform for that matter, may inform the user or the student that something has happened on that platform. So informing about a new assignment, a new homework, a new test, quiz, or information that you will be for some reason absent should pop a notification in the application of that student. And as you can see, I'm using a custom setting because I adjusted them appropriately to my needs. But it is imperative that you know what are the default settings, so that you will be able to predict which kind of notification will be provided to your students, which ones will be seen, heard, and which ones will be just a message on a board that a student might not notice. Now, here's the first thing. You may, as Microsoft Teams has the capability of sending emails, if a direct message, a DM, is sent to you, you will get a email if you do not respond once every hour, right? So you may set that for once every 10 minutes, 8 hours daily, or turn it off totally. Now, the default setting is to, oh, sorry, not 1 hour, yeah, once every hour. Now, this is the default setting. So your student should get an email notification if an activity that is connected to that student is present. We'll get to the activities or information that will be sent to a student and on what occasion. Now, as you can see, we can edit those settings for chat, meetings and calls, people, assignments, and other elements of our platform, Teams platform. Now, as you can see, that we are skipping a bit ahead here. As you can see, there are mentions which use the @ symbol, which allows us to point a information to a certain user, a specific user or specific group. In that case, in a chat or a general channel in a team, if we select a certain user by @ mention, the person will get a information or notification informing that person that something has happened that requires their attention. That goes for a chat, that goes for a team, that goes for a group. Now, I won't be going into details because unfortunately the time we are provided just only with 1 hour, and we could dwell on every single detail for several hours. So I'll try to present to you the most commonly used functionalities and the ones that are, let's say, most used by teachers and professors around me. They should be information that allow you to enhance your teaching experience, not because MS Teams is just a tool, and if you know your tools right, it will make a great difference in your teaching process, as it will enhance it and give you more freedom, time, and it will be something that you will be using probably every day. Right. Now, as you can see, we are in Teams tutorial course on a channel which is named General, and we can make a new conversation. Think of this channel as a main site. As you open your browser, you open your main website, and you get the first landing homepage. This is the general channel of a course or a team that you've created. Here you post the information which is most important to your team members. So any announcements, any conversations that you may want to have with your students, the whole class, this is the place. Now, if I start a new conversation, as you can see, a simple pop-up edit box appears, and I can type in some information to be presented on this on a general board, right? Now, I just said hello, and this will be visible to all my students which are enrolled into this group, into this team. They may view it, they will see the general channel will be presented in a bold font, so they will see that something has happened on that channel, but they will not be informed or notified that something important has happened. So they need to come into that team. If I go to the whole teams section, so those are all my teams that I'm part of, those which are bolded, the font is bolded, it means some activity has happened from the last time since I was on it, right? So let's get to our tutorial course. Now, if I click a new conversation, I will create a new, as the button says, a new conversation. So I started a conversation here on the top and another conversation here on the bottom. Your students or your coworkers may reply to that message. You may also reply to a conversation that you have started. Right? And as you can see, it creates a feed of conversation that we are having. Let's say I would like to tell my students that they should come to class 108, not 101, during our next class. So the simplest thing to do would be just write next class will be held in room 108, not 101, right? So this is out there. Your students see that. If they check their teams, they will see, and that specific team in their team layout, they will see that information. Unfortunately, as we know, many students and also workers do not check the information often enough. So we need to notify them that something has happened on that team. To do so, we would need to use the at mention. But before we do that, I'm gonna start a new conversation and show you the possibilities of creating a formatted conversation or an announcement. Now, as you can see, just by using this small button here, I am going into a enhanced edit box, which allows me to format my text in a, let's say, larger aspect. I may add a subject to my text. Let's say it's a room change. And now I'll add some text here. Let's say next class will be held in room 108, not 101, right? And if I post that, as you can see, there's a bolded title and the text of my message, right? I may add additional things to my general board, as for example, I would like to add some, let's say, some text. I'll use the text from my presentation, which will be available to you as a summary for that course. So I'm just copy and pasting some text. Oh, right. As I pasted the text, it keeps the font settings from the text I have copied it from. This is a common problem with copying, for example, from a website to your Word document or any other text editor, right? So you right-click, and here you have paste, right? And as you can see, nothing happens. The layout, or sorry, the font format is not the one that we would be using, right? I can just use a paragraph option to change it back. There's also that trick of going into Notepad, pasting it, copying it, and pasting it back. And as you can see, the formatting was lost. Not all applications have the option to paste in without formatting. So this is a trick that might be helpful in your everyday work. The Notepad or any other text editor needs to be as basic as they get. So here's the text I want to send to my students. I can also add some list here. I may also add a table if that's necessary for me. You may view that enhanced window of text editing as if you were using a text editor, an enhanced text editor like LibreWrite or Word or Google Docs document. All those functions that you see here that would be available to you in a text editor are available here. I can bolden the font, make it italic, and add a subject. Okay, as I added that, all of my students will be able to see that information. But I want to make sure that they get that they see that. Okay, I'll start a new conversation. Just a simple message. I am adding a @ symbol. And as you can see, it automatically suggests to whom I may direct my message. I will be directing that to my friend, and as you can see, right now his name and surname has highlighted here in a color, which means that person will be notified about the fact that a message was posted on this board. So let's say not only I may select a single person, I may also use the whole group, especially the whole team that I'm already in. So we are in a team called Teams Tutorial Course, right? So I type in Teams, and as you can see, right now I will be sending an information which will be viewed as a special activity that will notify all the people in this team. So this is a perfect way to announce something to your students or to your coworkers about about something that they need to know. You need to be sure that some form of notification will show itself to your colleagues or students. They will be notified. They will see that information, and there's no question about the fact that they will know that something has happened. Right. Let's do that just for the course. Add that information about the room change. Send. Okay. Now, as you can see, an icon has appeared, which means that this message has notified, or this message is also it is a message that has notified all the users in our group. Now, if you are willing to, or you have a need to make a really important announcement, there's a special type of formatting that you may use, which is here. It means mark as important. As you can see, the important notice has appeared. I'll again add the text, so the room change as a subject, and some random text. Right? And post. As you can see, a important pin or icon has appeared, plus the important notice, and this red line has appeared here. So everyone who logs onto our team knows there is an important message to be read. The thing is, they are people are not notified about the important things or the important messages that are posted on this board, on this channel. So it will not notify your users, but it will be easier to see, and it is an important message. You have specifically provided that information to your students or colleagues. Now, oh, right, something that I may not produce here online, so I'll show it to you from my presentation. Here's an email that that the student will be provided with when they are added or enrolled into a class. So this email is an email that was sent automatically to one of my students when I added them to the list of students to my course. And many of such information will be sent to your students. Not all students, especially now, use their email accounts, as it is not the newest form of communication available to us. So it isn't particularly often used by our students, which generally speaking are using just some communicators. Now, in the event when a student is using the Microsoft Teams platform on their cell phone, and I use the @mention, so I created a @mention to Teams tutorial team, my friend has received, sorry for that, such notice, right? So this notice has been highlighted to my friend, and the text that is provided in that conversation will be presented to him as an activity, as an alert, right? So the user is alerted to the fact that he or she, oh, sorry for that, was mentioned. Sorry. Bugger. Now, the most commonly used type of meeting or presentation of your material is just a simple video conference to which your students connect, to which they are enrolled. So let's start a meeting. As you can see, I can meet now or schedule a meeting, which means you may create schedules for your meeting if your class is taking place at the different times during different weeks. For now, let's check the most easy option, which is Meet Now. Before starting our meeting, we are presented with a new channel, new meeting window, which gives us the option, first of all, to name the meeting, which I would suggest is essential, because it is used as a name and as a reference point in further usage of that course. Now, so I'm creating a meeting number 1. As you can see, I can check my camera if it's working properly. As you can see, I can also check some visual effects. Let's select a simple blur. And as you can see, the algorithm or the Teams platform is trying to determine what is background and what isn't. And as you can see, the microphone right now is seen. If I lean a bit, it becomes blurred. That is why it is a good idea to use a green screen, because if my background would be a green screen of a single monocolor, it would work perfectly. In such situation as we are in right now, unfortunately it won't. Let me select a different background, and as you can see, not only I am not cut out perfectly, or my image, my face is not cut out perfectly. That is exactly because the background behind me is not unifold. It's just, let's say, random. It's some white tiles with a microphone, some black curtains. It is harder for Microsoft Teams or any other platform for that matter to determine what is background and what's not. If you make it monocolor, it will be easy for it and it will consume less resources. Now, I'll turn out the video. As you can see here, you may change your audio settings as it was available to you in the main settings menu. So you may select the audio device, speaker, microphone, and again adjust the brightness or mirror the view. Now, it is natural for us to use the mirrored view, because if I turn my head left, you see me turning my head left. If I disable the mirror view, so I am seen as if I am seen by the camera, I'm turning my head left, but you see as if I was turning right. This is something that really helps us cope with our online meetings. Now, let's get back to the general settings. And I have created a meeting. Now, a prompt will come up and inform you that you may add participants to the meeting. So you may invite people to join you, or you may provide them with a link. Now, the link option is extremely interesting because the people that you are inviting to join you in your meeting don't necessarily need to be people in your organization. So if you're trying to invite a student who is not part of your class, or you're trying to invite someone to join your meeting, a person that is not enrolled or working for your organization, for example, a guest that comes to a conference. This is the link that you'll be using. There are many ways to get that link, but for now, we'll use that one. So I copied the link. Okay. And here is an incognito tab in my browser. I paste in that link, click enter. Sorry for that. And this is what I see. Now, this is the option to join a Teams meeting. I may continue in my browser or switch up to the Teams application. In normal case, I would prefer to use the Teams application as the browser has limited possibilities, not all the functions, but in this case, I'll join in the browser, which allows me to show you how it looks for a user to log in while not being a member of our team or not being a member of our organization. Now I need to allow my browser to access my microphone and my camera. I may provide my name and surname, which we all know students might abuse a bit. Right? And I click to join. Now, as you can see, there's an information, unfortunately in Polish, I'm sorry for that, but our locale is set to Poland. And as you can see, here in my application, I am asked if I would like to allow a person to attend my meeting. So I have full power to accept or deny someone admission to my class. I will accept that person joining. And as you can see, the person is seeing me with a bit of a blur. And here's what I'm seeing. So as the person, well, me in the second window is not using the camera, not to create a complete chaos, I just see the name of that person, right? Okay. Okay, that's on the second screen. Now let's see what options are available to us. First of all, there's chat. And during a meeting, you may need to provide some information, for example, paste some link or some text. Allow me to grab some. Right, for example, you need to post some information. Someone might be having some connection problems. You may need to inform that your microphone isn't working correctly or so on and so forth. That is the place to inform about that. Now, here on the People tab, you can see two people in this meeting. There's me, the organizer, and there's the guest. The person who has joined me via the browser. Now, the guest has very limited access rights to the meeting, so that person will not be able to present, will not be able to share the screen, and in some cases we may mute them and they cannot unmute themselves. This is a good feature if you are dealing with in some situations. So me as an organizer or me as a presenter, I have a lot more privileges than the guests that are connected to me. Then there's the raise your hand, which, as you can see, if I have the People tab open, you will see that a participant in this meeting has raised her or his hand, and not only I see information here, I see it on the menu, and I know that someone would like to say something or interrupt. Now, as a presentation is taking place, I may react to what is happening, by sending a thumbs up or a heart. Now, as I am providing those hearts or thumbs up for myself, I will not see that. As you can see on this part of the screen, there's the user, then there's me, and now I'll react. So I'm sending a thumbs up, and it should appear on that screen here, but I believe that because of the narrow window, it is not properly. Here you can see in that mini window that the reaction is being shown. So to engage your students, especially when they are presenting something, it is in a good taste, or it is possible for other students or for you to applaud them, to give them thumbs up, and provide them with some additional info. Now, the most commonly used feature, in my experience, is the sharing of my screen. Now, I may share just basically my screen. As you can see, I have two screens, the main one and the one that I'm using on my side. And when I'm sharing the whole screen, the user will see everything, exactly everything. And this is not something that we should do, because as you are sharing your screen, you may provide some information that you would not like to. So in that case, you may provide just a single window. As you can see, I have a Chrome tab, a PowerPoint presentation open, a download box, the notepad, and if I share only that part, the user sees only that part of the window. Okay? Now, the truly astonishing feature is the Microsoft Whiteboard. It creates a almost literal whiteboard, and you may use the whiteboard as if you were in a classroom. So you just select a pen and you make some doodles, or you paint a simple graph, note something on it, you may erase it with ease. But a feature that is extremely helpful for me is to use some resources that I have available to me. Let's say I need a bar graph. Unfortunately, I'm not logged onto my personal PC, so I'll just use some random graph out of the internet. Okay. Now I may add this image or paste that image onto my screen. Okay. So here's the bar graph. And imagine the possibilities that you have if you have the option to paste the bar graph or any other material that you're working with onto your screen and then work with it. For example, using the pens to show some information that you would like to present on that bar graph. When you're done, you may just basically, you may export the image, so it may be presented or that you added some information which is valuable. It may be accessed by other teachers, anyone who is enrolled into that class, but you may just leave it and delete it. It's up to you. That's really a neat function or a great way to provide a good interaction or an option to work with your students in a way that is similar to a real classroom experience. Ile czasu zostało? Okay. I'm being informed that I have just 1 minute left as it is. I'll just check if there is a certain information that I would be really glad to share with you. Oh, right. Now, something that is of extreme value to all teachers especially. As I've ended my meeting, the meeting has ended. And as you can see, I can download an attendance report of that meeting. So for you as a teacher, it might be really helpful to use that feature, because after you finish your class and you finish presenting and you disconnect from your meeting, you may download the attendance report, which presents to you all all your students that attended the course. As you can see, we have the information who has joined our Teams meeting, what was the duration of their stay, when they joined, when they left, and what was the meeting's duration. So that saves a lot of time for all teachers to use that platform as a platform to conduct classes. Unfortunately, I could be presenting to you for several more hours. Unfortunately, I'm limited just to one. So thank you thank you very much for your attendance. Thank you very much for your attention. That will be all for today. Thank you very much.